Every par 3 has its own challenges. Bunkers or water, hills, rough, whatever it may be, angles. It's up to us to try and figure that out. Trying to basically give myself as many birdie looks as I possibly can, because I've always really trusted my putting.
With ball in hand on a par 3 tee, how do you decide where to tee it up in terms of angle?
Well, it starts with where the flag is, and then where the trouble is, and then take into account wind. And so going through those 3 things real quickly, I'll determine what shot shape I'm going to play, where I'm going to gravitate towards in the tee box area. And also take into account what I've been feeling the past week or the past couple of days, shots I've missed or shots I've hit well. You know, golf is like cards. You're playing probability all the time. Trying to make the best chess move you possibly can. So it's putting all those pieces together in a fluid environment. Golf is not on the same court, the same size, same dimensions. Everything's changing and moving. So having to make those subtle adjustments all the time is one of the neat things about our game.
There is definitely a theater kind of setup to a lot of the par 3s, especially on tour and in majors. But I think the reason why he's so good at it is that he's just such a good iron player. And typically you're giving him an iron with, he knows the exact yardage, there is no second guessing it, and then most importantly, he's got a perfect lie. For someone as good as him, you're gonna have pretty good results.
First thing I think about when I think of par 3 is obviously the yardage and where the flag is. Par 3s generally have been in my wheelhouse because it's usually irons, but it also depends on the length. There's short ones like at Pebble Beach, the number 7, or we play like beasts like at Oakmont from the back tee on number 8, it's like 310. So it all depends on the hole and where the trouble is, whether I'm going to go after the flag or use slope. Here, I've got a right flag here. It's 145 yards. There's a slight slope on the left-hand side, so I can use that to get into the flag. There's water to the right, so I'm going to try and use the slope on the left as a bailout and kind of feed the ball into it. So I'll have option 2 cut. If I don't cut it, I'll use the slope. If I cut it, it'll be hopefully within flag stick.
What conditions would make you play either aggressively or conservatively on par 3s?
Well, first of all, if the greens are soft, then I know I can play aggressively. If the greens are firm, I'm probably gonna have to be a little bit more conservative because of the hop it's gonna take. And then the length of the hole. You know, if it's a big hole, 240, 256 yards, whatever it is, you can't really be that specific of how close I can hit it. But I've got 120 to 150 yards. I feel like I can hit that ball on my number, you know, most of the time, so I can take advantage of that. That's one of the hard parts about our game, is trying to be aggressive and conservative and disciplined all at the same time. And what is my commitment to that shot? Once I commit, I have to fully commit to it. If you look at the left flag, you know, there's a bunker there just short of the hole. There's bunker left, but the flat spot is around that flag, so I have to be a little more aggressive and get it into the flat spot so I can putt. But if I having one of those days where I'm not swinging well, I have plenty of green, dump it to the right, put up the hill, I got a 20-footer and move on. There's wind, obviously. I'm just gonna adjust what shot I'm gonna play, the yardage I'm gonna play it at, how aggressive I'm gonna be into it. Like on a hole like this, even if the wind's blowing quite a bit to the left flag, I can be aggressive. There's really not a whole lot of trouble. There's 2 bunkers over there. But the right flag, there's water, and I wouldn't be firing at that flag if it's really windy. I'll be playing a little more on the conservative side, but today it's still and go right at it. I always want to know what it's doing at the green, not necessarily what it's doing here at the tee. As the ball goes out there, it goes through the wind here. As it kicks up, that's where I want to know what the wind is doing. And so I'll talk with Joey about, you know, what he sees, what he feels, and then we'll kind of discuss it. And then I'll make the adjustments as I get into it, because obviously I may get a gust, may not get a gust. I may feel something on the shot that will make me adjust on my alignment, but I'll have all that information so that when I do make the adjustments, if I have to make them, that I'm ready to make them.
What What yardages do you want to know on a par 3? What numbers does Joey give you?
He always gives me front, then a carry if there is a carry, and then the hole. And then I'll ask if there is a backstop or what is it behind the flag. If it's on a top shelf, how many do I have behind it? It may be only 3 or 4 to cover the ridge, and I only have 4 from the back. So if that's the case, I'm going to probably shade my ball towards the front part of that ridge and accept putting it 20, 30 foot up the hill. And I'll take that into account and the lie in the situation and play accordingly.
In terms of calculation and feel on par 3s, he and Joe spend most of their time on wind direction. Tiger's got a really good feel, obviously, for how far he hits, each shot, each iron. What they're trying to figure out, what they can control, is the wind. Joe might be one of the best caddies I've ever seen at feeling the wind. They're trying to decide, is it really off your right, or is it slightly helping? Is it slightly hurting? And that sort of 1/8 of a degree can make a huge difference in terms of getting the ball close or not. For Tiger, he's calculating, but he's not overanalyzing everything. He's making sure he's got his yardage, taking as much risk as he can out of it, and then trying to read the wind and then execute the shot.
I've always looked at carry numbers and where I want that ball to land. I've got water short here. I would like to know how far is it on the green. Generally, if I ask what's the backstop, what's behind it, if we had a little shoulder to kind of play off of it and you use that, come back, what is that number? Joey's got a good understanding that I like just 2 numbers basically. What is it to get over the top of something, and then the flag. Then he has the option to give me something deeper than that. So if I'm going to go to the right flag, I know there's water right. If I'm not feeling that great about my swing, I'll go to the right edge of the tee box, so I'm firing away from the water. If I'm feeling pretty good about it, I'll go to the left side of the tee box, so I'm firing more along the water. Here today, 145 yards, there's really nothing going on, so I'll go to the left side of the tee box and be a little more on the aggressive side. But if the wind's pumping, I'll go to the right side and just dump it on the left-hand side and move on. So I'm gonna throw it about 8 feet left of the hole, hit a nice little cut in there. Oh, that's good. We got a front left pin over the top of that bunker, and if I go to the left side of the tee box where I was for the front right flag, I wouldn't really have an angle to get into that flag, so I'm going to the right side of the tee box to get more of an angle. It's 150 yards, carry 145, which is for me just a normal perfect 9-iron. Depends on the day and depends on how I'm feeling, whether or not I'm going to hit a draw or cut to this flag. Some days that if I'm not swinging that great, then I may just take an 8-iron and just hit a dump cut, start at the flag and just cut it to the center of the green. But if I'm feeling pretty good about it, I'm swinging good, feeling good, then I'll go after this flag, I'll hit a little slight draw into it, get it in there. There's a stand of trees on the right-hand side. That's basically where the fall off is. So it's about 15 feet right of the flag. To me, in my eye, it's saying aim at those trees and turn it in there a little bit. So that's my feel right now. I like using that as an aiming point and then turn the ball into this flag for here. All right, 150. Slight draw. There we go.
What's the feeling when you've pulled off a shot that you've planned and prepared, you've visualized it, and then you pull it off exactly as you saw it?
It's the best feeling because as soon as I make contact, I already know it's. Even if like there's a wind gust or there's something that happens, it's not going to happen. You know, it felt that good. It's hard to explain because there are shots where I know that it's potentially something could happen to that ball in the air, but then I hit certain shots where I just know that it's going to be tight.
It's untouchable.
Yes.